Welcome to the first episode of the True Crime Daily with Charlie and Ava.
A podcast where we explore the craziest unsolved murder mysteries.
Today we're going to be talking about one that hits home to us. Joanne Matuk Remain, the lady in the lake.
So, who is Joanne?
Joanne Matuk Remain was a 55-year-old mother of three living in Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan, a quiet, wealthy suburb just outside of Detroit. She'd just recently gone through a divorce, which wasn't easy, but according to her family, she was moving forward, staying active in her church, maintaining routines, and hanging out with friends.
Right, and that's important because don't police later claim that she committed suicide?
Yeah, that's what's interesting about this. Police claim it's suicide right away, but her family doesn't seem to agree with it. Now we'll take you back to when this all started.
On January 12th, 2010, Joanne attends Mass at St. Paul Catholic Church. It's a normal night, nothing unusual, but after the service ends, Joanne never makes it home.
Like you said, it was a normal night. She was at home cooking for her family, getting ready to go out. She had just put gas in her car tank, but something felt off. That's where it gets weird immediately.
Police began contacting her daughter, Michelle, asking about Joanne's whereabouts. Before the family even realized she was missing.
What? That's kind of weird. That's really weird.
Like, how did they know she was gone before her own family did?
Exactly. This whole story is very weird. Not much adds up, especially this. Later that night, Joanne's car was found in the church parking lot. If you've been to this church before, or if you know how it is, there's a driveway that's about 45 degrees and it's headed towards the lake. So she parked right on the edge of this very busy intersection on, on Lake St. Clair.
And there her car was, still there, undisturbed.
At around 7 p.m., 55-year-old Joanne Matuk Remain arrives at St. Paul on the Lake Catholic Church for evening mass.
Normal routine, right?
Completely normal. She attends the service, which ends around 8:30 p.m., and after all that, Joanne disappears.
So, when does anyone realize that something was wrong?
Here's the strange part. At approximately 9:30 p.m., a Grosse Pointe Farms public safety officer notices Joanne's car is still sitting in the church parking lot. Engine off, car locked, still covered in fresh snow.
So, clearly she never came back to the car.
Right. And instead of waiting for the missing person report, police begin making calls. On 10 p.m., officers have contacted Joanne's daughter, Michelle.
Wait, before the family even reported her missing?
Exactly. When police inspect the car, they find her purse still inside, but her keys, phone, and some personal items were missing.
That's weird. That's not like someone just walking away.
Even more concerning, there are footprints in the snow leading away from the car, toward Lake St. Clair.
Okay, so that's where the suicide theory comes in.
Yes, investigators quickly begin to believe she walked into the lake.
But how fast did they decide that?
Pretty fast. By the next day, January 13th, search teams are already focused on the lake as the primary location. Divers, drones, helicopters, full search operation.
So they're treating it like a confirmed drowning?
Essentially, yes, even though there is no body.
Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months, and nothing is found.
There.
Exactly.
Then finally, on March 20th, 2010, more than 2 months later, Joanne's body is discovered in the Detroit River.
Wait, I thought she went missing in the lake.
That's what they thought too. But it's about 30 miles away, across the border in Windsor, Ontario. After an autopsy, the official cause of death is ruled drowning. And the manner of death?
Suicide?
Yes.
There's no way the family just accepts that.
They don't. Joanne's daughter, Michelle Romaine, immediately begins questioning everything because, in her mind, the timeline and the behavior doesn't make sense.
Like what?
Earlier that same day, Joanne had filled up her gas tank, made plans with friends, and gone to church.
That does not sound like someone planning to commit suicide that night.
And then there's something even more unsettling. In the weeks before her death, Joanne allegedly told Michelle, "If anything were to happen to me, Look into Timothy Matuk.
Timothy Matuk? That's her cousin, right?
Yes, at the same time, he was a police officer for Grosse Pointe Woods, the neighboring town over.
Whoa, the police? They just keep getting more and more sus.
I know, it's a big deal. Then there's a key witness, Hall Hawk. He reports seeing a woman matching Joanne's description around 8:45 to 9 p.m. near the lake.
That's around the same time that she would have left Mass.
Yes, but he also says that she was not alone. He claims there were two men nearby, and something about the situation felt a little sus.
What happened when the police investigated that?
Yes, but not really in a meaningful way where we can find anything out, at least not early on. By 2014, the family filed a lawsuit against multiple police departments.
What are they alleging?
They're alleging that the investigation was mishandled from the start, that police ignored key leads, failed to properly investigate certain individuals, and focused too quickly on suicide.
And the outcome?
In 2019, a federal appeals court rules that there isn't enough evidence to prove a cover up, so officially, the ruling remains unchanged.
But there are still so many gaps in this story.
I know, exactly. A woman disappears around 8:30 p.m., her car was found by 9:30 p.m., and police are calling her family by 10 p.m.
That timeline alone just feels very fast.
And then, her body is found miles away. A witness sees her with two men, and she made a warning about a police officer who happens to be her cousin who has debts to gambling mobs in Detroit.
It just doesn't add up.
I know. So, what really happened to Joanne Matuk Remain that night?
Did she walk into the freezing waters of Lake St. Clair?
Or something else happening in that parking lot after Mass?
More than a decade later, her family is still asking.
And the answers are still unclear.
And the truth might still be out there.
As always, if you have any information about the disappearance of Joanne Matuk Remain and what happened to her that dreadful night, please email us at truecrimepod@nmu.edu. Or you could call the local police department of Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, or Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan. Thank you